the meeting today, the agenda is that we are going to talk about the 5 love languages. Based on the book, The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. This book is a New York Times bestseller. As you can see, this is the book, and it has sold more than 12 million copies worldwide. Based on the success of this book, Dr. Chapman has gone on to write the 5 love languages for children, 5 love languages for adolescents, 5 love languages for the military version, for couples that are in long distance relationships. So when I started reading this book myself, I thought, oh, okay, this is yet another, self-help book. But I can tell you that after reading it, it's really amazing. So tonight, we're going to hear from 5 couples that are going to talk about each of the 5 love languages. Then we are going to have sort of an interaction and Q&A.
To call upon our first presenting couple, Sister Ruth and Brother Roy.
Hi, everybody. Got I guess the most interesting love language, the one of receiving gifts by default. We took our time to respond and pick a love language to present on, and then before we knew it, all the other ones were gone except for this one. So I guess it was for a good reason. So anyway, we need to start off by defining what gifts are, what we think a gift is from what we read from the book. Okay, so a gift is something tangible that you can willingly give to your better half as a way of showing that you have them in mind. We've also defined it as a symbol of thought followed by the actual act of securing the gift. So this means that when you give someone a gift, it's a symbol of thought. You'll have thought of them. But also by actually giving them, getting the gift and giving it to them, that's a complete process of a gift. It's also defined as an expression of love where words cannot reach. So it goes beyond the words that I love yous. You're awesome, you're unique, you're my everything. You're fresh. To being the actual, a gift is actually replaces all of that. And then it is also, lastly, it's also a visual symbol of love. Okay, and after defining it, we also decided to think of the things that are not quite gifts. Some of these are tricky, but you'll find that especially in relationships, there's certain things that we might mistake for gifts. But anyway, we think that gifts are not just words. They are not basic necessities. So, for example, living with my wife, paying rent, paying the bills, that's not exactly a gift, It's a basic necessity. Or getting food. But the food part is tricky, though, because there's certain types of food that might look like a gift. That might be a gift. So, also, gifts are also not strictly monetary. So that means it's not just money. So even the poor people can gift their loved ones in several ways. They can actually make their own gifts. They can, there was an example of a rock. You can pick up a special kind of rock and gift your loved one with the rock. And so they're not strictly monetary, and they're also not always expensive. And they're not also always tangible. Does it go down? Hold on. Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. Okay. Where to begin? So during our daily conversations, we need to take note of things that excite our loved ones the most. So in order for you to be able to know the right gift to get, you need to conversate with your loved one and try and pick out the things they like the most. So that would be a good way to decide what gift to get. You can also get help from family and friends. For example, me and my wife, we just recently started staying together. So it might be difficult. If I didn't know any better, I might not know exactly what to get her, but there's a tip you can get from family and friends to find out what would be a nice gift. With time, you'll obviously know exactly what your loved one wants, And also you can make lists of things that excite them or things that they even show interest in. From conversation, you can actually pick up, oh, she likes a red something, and, gift her with that. And also a very important point. This is to the person that, because everyone has a different love language. So if your primary love language is gifting, it's very important that you let it be known to your loved one. You can do it in a special kind of way, but you just need to let them know that I would really love a gift, if you can. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your spouse, so you have to be really open. Don't let them try and figure it out, because especially us men, sometimes we ignore it. Especially when you're in the house, when you're married, oh boy, you can just take it for granted and think, oh boy, that's it. I married you, that's enough. Come in here, you're living in the house, everything is good. I got you a car. So it's very important that if the wives can, it would be nice if they hint us a little bit and, just be very open about your love of gifts. So, also, in conclusion, my wife decided to title it, It's Not Love Until You Give It Away. I don't know why. Now, I'm talking about myself, but maybe she'll explain that later. Anyway, so this is a repetition. Once you discover that receiving gifts is your partner's primary love. Okay, no, this is on the part. So you know that receiving gifts is your partner's primary love language, you have to become a proficient gift giver. So you have to become super awesome at giving gifts. Go all out. Constantly think of what gift you can get today. In the book, it also says tells a story about a man that did it for a whole week. This guy wasn't doing it before, but the moment he discovered that his wife's love language is one of gifting, he went all out. He bought a gift every week, each and every week. Okay, so also a good gift giver gives frequently, not occasionally. So you're not just doing the birthdays. Everyone can do that. Everyone gets the presents, everyone gets anniversary present, but now you need to go all out. You need to get a Wednesday gift or Tuesday, or I'm just feeling like getting a gift, So there are also different kind of gifts, like we said earlier, which are not always purchased, but also found or made. You want to give example of gifts that I've bought you?
Flowers.
And give us three.
Shoes.
Okay.
Like a bag.
There you go. A bag.
I know.
Amen.
Yeah.
MK bag.
I know him.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
I
so
think Sister Ruth is being coerced into saying bag. But anyways,
who would have shown you if we didn't have just 5 minutes? We would have shown you. But anyway, we'll save that for another day.
Brother Roy.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of gifts, and like I said earlier, even a rock. You can go on a special trip or hiking trip with your loved one, pick up a special rock, gift it to her later. It'll be just awesome. There was also another example of a couple that went to a baseball match and they caught a ball, and years later or sometime later, the husband gave that woman a framed baseball. So that could go a long way, about picking the right gift. And then gift giving is part of the love marriage process and an expression of love practiced worldwide. So this is not just in America or Nigeria or, this is all over the world. So marriage alone says a lot about gift giving, giving gifts, giving. You know, it's just a thing practiced in marriage. From the initial process when you're paying bride price for those that do, you know, it's gifting, you know, sacrificing your money to do whatever you wanted to do to show appreciation, you know, and respect and honor to the parents of your spouse. So gifting is really a big part of the love marriage process. One interesting intangible gift is the gift of presence. This gift requires one to be there for their spouse in times of need. This is a very, very important gift that we might take for granted, and even it might cause a lot of damage if it's not paid attention to. So there was an example of a couple that the husband wasn't really there when the kid was born, or he stayed for a little bit, then he left and went to play his favorite sport, or you know. So and then when the wife lost the mother, he wasn't there. He stayed for a little bit too, and then he went. You know, that one though was explained further to a miscommunication because this guy was actually, you know, doing it for them eventually after he explained. But it's also very important that we be there for each other. You know, the gift of presence is very, very important. For most of us, we managed to gift this gift of presence by force because of this whole COVID thing. And for some families, it helped, you know. But yeah, it's one that we need to. One of the favorite ones. It's very important that we need to pay attention to that one. And that's an easy one. That's a really easy one to give. You know, if you put time, it's an easy one to give because you're not spending money. And then, in conclusion, the last point, receiving gifts is an important love language because all the 5 love languages that our fellow mates are about to present challenge us to give. Observe, you will see that most of these love languages that we're going to talk about they have something to do with giving. So I hope all of us have learned something from this and give all the way.
Thank you, Brother Roy. Thank you, Sister Ruth, for the moral support, especially. We thank you guys for the preparation. Any comments on receiving gifts so we can move our program faster? We're slightly behind time. If you have any comments, please feel free, or questions, feel free to say anything. If you are shy, you can type in on the chat so we can address it later on when Pastor gives the overall view. Okay, so while you're on that point, I was thinking to myself, there are people who believe that giving flowers and those things that you can throw away is wasting money. You might as well put it in the bank. And I don't know. I don't know if someone has any comment on that because I really relate much to being given gifts and flowers. So I was thinking this could be one of my love languages. Does anyone have a comment on that? About thinking maybe it's wasting money to buy things like flowers, might as well save it. Or if there's any comment about anything on the receiving gifts.
Thank you, Roy and Ruth for teaching us about giving. I just had a question on gifts, right? That let's say you are giving a gift, but then like maybe somebody like your spouse's interest might have shifted, and they don't like it anymore. Like, what's the way that you have to say that? Oh, I do not like flowers anymore. Like, you know, without making them, you know, like without hurting their feelings. That was my question. I'm done.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Roy. We can have any comments too from other couples, even if you haven't presented. So we can...
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
So this is Munya Choba. So what I was just going to say was that, like, I think you should just be open with your partner and just tell them if you're no longer interested in something.
Yeah, I totally agree with Munya. You know, it's hard sometimes to find the right words to tell them, you know, because um, it might be devastating for the other party. But it's very important though, because if you don't like flowers, you don't like them. Period. You know, the worst thing is to keep getting something and that person doesn't know. My spouse doesn't appreciate these things, you know. So I personally think there should be a way of communicating to it. I don't know the exact way to do it. I think it depends on the spouse. I'm sure I'll find a way to tell my own wife, no. These you know, these chocolates are not for me. You know, especially when it comes to edible things. If you get the wrong thing, it's a disaster.
This is Maingeni. I also think that Brother Roy touched on it because he said that we should also pay attention as we are discussing or talking about anything, because sometimes it's easy to just give someone a present that they don't like. But sometimes if you pay attention and listen to what they say, you can also get to know what they would really appreciate as a present. And because like what Fiona said, that it's like, I feel like marriage, it's a moving target. You can never say that I have truly arrived, because one day someone likes this and the next day they change. So it's important for us to keep on paying attention to what your partner wants, and also try to keep up with the changes, because that's why it's a lot of work, because you'll never arrive. It's continuous work.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, the Mshongeras. Thank you everyone for the feedback and the comments, the questions. If you still have questions and comments, you can send them on the chat box, and we can address those later. So moving along on schedule here, Sister Maingeni, just on cue there, you are up next. The Kuboruno family is going to talk about acts of service. Over to you, the Kuborunos.
Hi, everyone. We're talking about acts of service. And for us as a couple or in our marriage, we believe that actions speaks louder than words. And I think the book also touches on it big time. We feel that whenever you express your love by acting upon it, it makes it more special. I'll just kind of hand over to Maingeni to kind of expagorate on some examples to this effect.
Good evening, everyone. For me personally, especially when we moved here to America, I really got to appreciate this love language, because you know, when you're back home, you're surrounded with so many people and you have so much help, and so the father of the house really doesn't have to do much. All they have to do sometimes is go to work and just provide for the family. But when you come here, you realize that all you really have sometimes is really each other. So for me, the moment my husband started helping me do the dishes, cleaning the house, you know, I really appreciated it. And for me, it really spoke that I love you. It said, I love you more than words, because I knew that it was not easy for him too, because sometimes he's also busy, and who doesn't want to be sitting on the couch and being served? So I also understood that it's a sacrifice for him. It's not easy for him. And as much as it is not easy for me too. So the moment he would start helping around with the house and also playing with the children, for me, it said, I love you so much more than the words themselves.
I concur with my wife, and you know, also acts of service kind of create a culture of oneness, while we support each other with our personal goals and family goals. As you act upon your love, I think your spouse will bound, you know, to appreciate you more. And as my wife already kind of alluded to say, when you came here, you know, I was in South Africa for some time. When my firstborn was born, I was just, you know, I never knew anything like changing diapers, you know, taking him a bath, all that stuff. I would just take him when he's clean. But when I came here, my second born was born here. I think I learned a lot because we the two of us, we had to kind of support each other as we go. And for us, that's kind of acts of love or act of service in our marriage. Then I'll just hand over to my wife to explain the next point that we have as well.
And we realized that the more we helped each other, we realized that it creates more time for us to focus on each other. So without someone complaining that, I'm tired because I've been doing so much. So the moment we realized that helping each other was also beneficial for our relationship, because it enabled us to spend more time together and express love for each other in other ways.
Yes, just touching on that point as well, it also gives us the support that we need emotionally and mentally. Just being there for your spouse, right? Making cleaning up dishes or making dinner once a while. Sometimes I'm a busy person, especially on my work. Sometimes the whole week I'm not available, but I kind of made it a family time, especially on a Saturday or Sunday, where Daddy makes dinner and I have my my Majira special that I make, especially my kids and my wife. They like it so much. So that every Saturday or Sunday, I try to make sure that I'm available. I've acted upon that. I've actually made dinner, and also just doing the acts of service gives us, or gives the other spouse, the me time that they need to relax, reflect, and recharge as well, especially for those that have kids. If you don't have kids as yet, yes, you should have time for each other, providing service to each other, and all that. You can take the next point.
And we also think that, when you help each other, it keeps the fire burning. And it just helps us love each other more, knowing that, someone is actually taking time to sacrifice and do something for you and not just thinking about themselves.
Yes, and just in conclusion, acting or providing service, especially in your marriage, I think for us, we feel love should be in action. And so by acts of service, you're actually producing the very best, which we believe, in doing the doing part. Actually, I think the other spouse will really appreciate, and your marriage, everything just kind of falls in the right place, and the fire will continue burning, and of course, the results of that. I think that was our summarization of acts of service, but we are open for suggestions, additions, and other recommendations from the group.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. Would like to open up for comments and questions on the acts of service.
Hi, it's me. I was just gonna say, I think with acts of service, it's very easy to, like, for it to become transactional in a way. You just start feeling like, well, I did this, and so you need to do this and this in return. So I think it's important, like when you're trying to show this kind of love, to like keep that in mind, that it's not a transactional thing. It's about sacrifice and about selflessness and about like serving each other.
Wow, thank you for that perspective.